Hi guys, welcome back to Dimitra's Dishes. So today I'm going to teach you how to make a vegan, delicious cake that has no eggs, no butter, nothing like that in it. It's simple and easy to make. It's known as Greek Χαλβάς, and it's also translated to a Greek Semolina pudding cake. I'm going to take you over the ingredients and then we're going to get started. It's really easy to make as everything else is. We're going to begin by making the syrup. So in my pot right here, I have sugar that I'm going to add water to. And we're just going to cook this with some spices that we're going to pop in here until it comes to a boil. I'll add a cinnamon stick in here and 4 cloves. And then once that boils, we're also going to need the juice of 1 orange, but we're going to need the zest for the pudding part. So let me zest it first. I'll zest it into these almonds over here, which I'll talk to you about in a second. Juice of 1 orange. So I'm just going to give this a nice mix, and I'm going to keep the heat on high until it comes to a boil and the sugar completely dissolves. After that, the last ingredient that's going to go into our syrup is a cup of Greek honey. If you've never tried Greek honey, you have to try it at least once. I'm going to put the link down below if you want to get it online. It's delicious. It's almost like it has a caramel texture. I've never had anything like it, but the thing with honey is anytime you're making a syrup, you don't want to cook it because it kind of ruins or kind of messes up the flavor. So you just add it in completely at the end, which we will as soon as this comes to a boil. So we're making the syrup first. The rest of the ingredients are really basic. I have some semolina that's finely ground. You could use finely ground or coarsely ground. This is usually sold in your Mediterranean section of the supermarket or in specialty food stores that have things that come, like food items that come from Greece or the Middle East or anywhere in the Mediterranean. So you're going to need some semolina flour for this. I have some cardamom pods. I'm only going to need 2, and they're so packed with flavor that you just need a little bit. You're just going to want to open them up and get the seeds out. Then I have some oil. You want to use flavorless oil. For this, I wouldn't really recommend olive oil unless you're using the more inexpensive variety that is not cold pressed, or you could use expeller pressed canola oil or grapeseed oil or any oil that really doesn't have flavor. We're going to need a cup of that. We're going to need a little bit of salt. Now, I love dried cranberries, so I'm putting dried cranberries in here. You can put your favorite dried fruit. Dried cherries work well in this, raisins, whatever you want. I have my orange zest over here, and you can use any nuts you want, but I find that if you soak almonds overnight in water, in cold water, and then you peel them and chop them, they're really mild and crisp, and they have almost like a water chestnut flavor, and it's just delicious. So what you do is you take some almonds and you soak them in water overnight, and then the skin just pops out like that. So you're going to discard the skin, and you're just going to use the almond part of it, the inside of it, and then all you need to do is to just slice it. Just like that. We're going to need 3/4 to a cup of the almonds, which I have right here. And really that's it. That's all you need. So we're going to wait until this comes to a boil. And in the meantime, I'm just going to put the heat on under my pot so that way it gets nice and hot. And then you're going to need a bundt pan, because this is not going to be baked or anything like that, but it's going to set the form. And the more decorative it is, the nicer, so get yourself one of those. So we're just waiting for the syrup to boil. Okay, so the syrup came to a boil, and all the sugar is dissolved, so I'm going to turn the heat off under that pot, and I'm just going to pour in about a cup of this lovely honey. Look how thick it is. That's about a cup. The best way to measure honey, by the way, is in your measuring cup that you're using. If you are using a measuring cup, you can pour some oil in there and then pour the oil back into the container, and and then once you put the honey in there, it'll just flow right into the pan. So that's a little trick there. So that's it. We're just going to leave the syrup over here on the side because this is going to sweeten our pudding. And in my pan, in my pot right here, that's already warmed up. I had the heat turned on low underneath here so it could be nice and hot and ready to go. I'm going to put my cardamom seeds. I'll put my semolina flour and a cup of oil. It wasn't a full cup, so I'll put a little bit more. And what we're going to do is, at this point, you definitely do not want to move away from here because we're going to toast the semolina, and we're going to do that by just moving it around in this pot. And this is going to happen quickly. It takes anywhere from like 5 minutes to maybe 7 minutes. You're going to smell it. It's going to get really nice and like a nice toasty, like a toasted nut aroma. And it can go quickly from toasted to burnt, so you don't want to step away from here. It's just a couple of minutes, maybe 5-6 minutes that you want to be here toasting this and moving it around. It's already smelling so good. And I'm just going to sprinkle in a little bit of salt, just about 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon. And we always put salt in when we're making dessert. It just brings all the flavors together, and it doesn't make it salty if you don't put too much. So once you can smell that it's really nice and toasted, you want to add your dried fruit, your cranberries, and toast those for about another minute. And then while that's toasting, you want to take out the spices from inside of your syrup. And now you want to carefully add the syrup. It's going to bubble vigorously because both things are very hot. So you want to take care in doing so. Make sure the heat is low underneath your pan and pour it in very carefully. And then we're going to cook this over medium heat for about 10 minutes until it absorbs all of the syrup and it comes together and becomes really nice and thick, and it's going to begin separating from the pan, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's going to get thicker and thicker as the time goes. So you want to keep stirring this and keep going, and I'll show you what it looks like after 10 minutes. Okay, so once it's done and once it's starting to separate from the sides of the pan like so, now we're going to add our zest and our sliced soaked almonds. If you don't have almonds, or if you prefer another nut, you can go ahead and use chopped hazelnuts. Just toast them a little bit, or walnuts. Oh my goodness. Once the orange zest hits this, it just takes it to another level. You smell it and it just smells divine. Just give it a nice mix. Turn off the heat, and now we're just going to put it in our bundt pan. Now there's enough oil in this that should really ensure that it doesn't stick, but just for some extra protection, I'm just going to put about a tablespoon of oil in here and just brush it all around the bundt pan. If you don't have a bundt pan, you could use any cake pan that you like, or you can even just serve it in little individual cups if you wanted to as a pudding. Now we're just going to transfer this into our bundt pan. And you just want to make sure that it settles in so there are no air pockets. And that'll make it easier to take it out, and it'll just mold really nice and beautifully. Just press it in there with the spatula, go all around and make it as even as you can. This over here is going to be the bottom of the cake. And we're going to leave it alone and let it sit and cool down a bit, maybe about 15 minutes, and then we're going to turn it over onto a beautiful plate, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's ready. Okay, so the pudding has cooled for about 15 minutes, and hopefully it'll come out the way it should. Let's see, you still want it to be warm when you're unmolding it. Tap it to loosen it. Yes, that's the sound you want to hear. Ta-da! Beautiful. Look at how pretty that looks. Let me get some cinnamon. I feel like a dash of cinnamon on this would look really pretty. I mean, just like this, it's perfection. but a little bit of cinnamon will be nice. And even if you had some powdered sugar, you can dollop that on top as well, or sprinkle that. Ah, it smells so good. Let's cut into this so I could show you what it looks like on the inside. Now, you should technically let this cool completely before you slice it, but I don't have that much patience right now, so I'll just cut a slice so I could show you. But as soon as it cools, it'll come together much better than this, and it'll be very easy to slice. The slices will come out very, very easily. But even like this, it's really good. Look at the inside. You can keep it completely vegan like this and serve it as is, or you could serve it with a scoop of ice cream or some whipped cream. And I cannot wait to try this. This is out of this world. This is all you need in your life right now. Trust me. The recipe will be on the website. You get the crunch from the almond, which is really nice when you soak it. It's just a different flavor. And then I love the orange zest with the cranberries. It just complements each other so well. It's just really, it's perfection. So I'm gonna put the recipe in the description box down below. Make sure you check it out. It takes you directly to my website, www.dimitrasdishes.com. You'll get this recipe, the exact ingredients, exact measurements for everything, step by step. We'll teach you how to do it from start to finish. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Share pictures with me on my social media pages, and let me know what you want to learn how to make next. Thanks for spending time with me, you guys. See you guys next time. Bye, everyone.